Do you think the size of the class contributes to the benefit of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the sense.
Yeah, like
big classes.
You don't learn anything in big classes.
What skills or improvements do you want to get out of this class?
I want to learn how to write better papers.
Yeah.
Maybe give presentations better.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always room for improvement on any skill that you have, but I mean, I guess it depends for each person. It's different.
What do you expect from Aaron and I to do further throughout the year?
For you guys to be awesome.
Just like, I like when you come to each table and like talk to us.
You don't just like keep to yourself, like you actually help us.
It's really nice having like younger.
Yeah, because you're like between us and him. I'm not like age-wise, you're not between us and him. But I just mean like, you're like a connection between us and him. You're like, and like you're easier to talk to. Like I would ask you something probably before I'd ask him. So.
Yeah. Like my TA from my math class is like, I like how nice you guys are, because my TA from my math class is like super awkward. Like she doesn't talk to us. You guys are our friends.
So you think it's important when the TAs come over to you individually and talk and see how you're dealing with the class? Okay. In what ways so far, just being here for probably about a month, has the class helped you grow?
The deadlines, those 11:59 deadlines, they help me with my procrastination, because in high school it's like a deadline is kind of tentative. It's like, oh, I don't have my paper, so you can turn it in before this time. But here it's like, if it's not online by 11:59, then there's your 5 points. Like, and they start to add up. So,
and like the fact that we sit up there and like told life stories.
Yeah.
And like I wouldn't even like go out and like talk about that with other people, because this is something like that happened in this class. Everyone's just open.
So this class kind of has like whatever happened in Vegas stays in Vegas type thing, because like we've only known each other for like less than a month, really. Like we just started actually talking to one another like about 2 weeks. So for real, we've only known each other for like 2 weeks, and people are telling like stories about like their loved ones that have passed or like almost passed, like really deep things that they don't tell like random people. And like you know that like they're not going to be out there like, oh, so and so, like it's just a comfortable vibe in here.
Like when you first come here undeclared, like you can basically take like any class you want. So you can take like all kinds of classes. Like I took human spirituality with like a lot of them, which was a cool class, and that's how I figured out I want to get into religious studies. And I have a friend in med school who's like taking all these science classes, and now she's thinking she doesn't even want to do it. So it's worth going in cleared. I feel like it gave me way more time to figure out everything. Definitely. Like I felt like it was okay to explore, I guess, like broaden your horizons or whatever, and actually figure out like what you really want to do.
College Undeclared helped me both academically and like socially, simply as like you can imagine, you know, actually being on your own for like the first time. I mean, of course in high school we all had to stay home alone every now and then, but it's still like under your parents' shelter and all that, but actually like having to do your own things, even simple things, just like having my own time to study or making sure things are turned in on time, making sure I just do simple everyday things is like a little more, I guess, complex than I thought it would be. And knowing people who went into engineering and all that, just seeing all the workloads they have, and many people are talking about they don't want to do it anymore. I guess coming to College Undeclared is better because you really don't know what you want to do in the end, so you at least have the time to figure that out, instead of having to backtrack, having to go through what we all have to go through now.
You just have so many more options. I mean, you don't have to start your track right away. You can take interesting classes. You can take a whole bunch of different ones. You don't have to specifically like take like medical classes. Like you don't have to start right away. You get to kind of like feel yourself out and figure out what you want to do. And if you find one class that you really like that you didn't even know about, like in high school you didn't even know about that career, and then you take a class and you fall in love with it, and then you start taking more classes like that and eventually choose that as a major.
Yeah, I feel like in high school you don't really know what the classes are going to be like in college, so after like taking the first semester and seeing what all the different like types of classes I could take were like, I think it was a lot easier than like going in like, oh, what is mass communications? Like, do I really want to major in this? And then after taking Mass Comm 101, deciding that is something I liked, even though I never had experience with it in high school.
Yeah, I didn't realize how many jobs there are out there, like with different majors and everything like that, but my advisor has been helping me trying to declare what I want to do, because there's so many jobs out there that I didn't even know about.
I think that coming to college undeclared helps also because there's a lot of support here and a lot of different classes that are geared towards students that are undeclared, so I found that really helpful, just helping me to explore my different options.
Yeah, and like the classes that you have to take if you're undeclared, like 101, a lot of my friends that are already in a certain path already, they don't get to take 101, and we do a lot of stuff in 101 that like is useful for college, but not all freshmen get to take it. Because if you're already declared, you take a 101 class that's like geared towards your major, not just general. And also like the learning community that they put all undeclared freshmen in. Like I think I'm taking like at least 3 or 4 classes with like pretty much half these people since school started. So I mean, it helps you form bonds, and you have people that are like you that don't really know what they're doing, and they're just not lost in college, but you know, trying to discover what they want to do. So you find other people that are like you.
Yeah, being undeclared has helped me too because there's a lot less pressure than having a declared major. So therefore it's easier to transition into living in college. And we also have more time to figure out what we actually want to do. So
I'm thinking about majoring in either criminal justice or computer systems and information.
I'm thinking about doing Mass Comm, specialized in PR.
I declared at the end of last semester actually, and I declared advertising in the mass communications.
I declared this semester with a double major of early elementary education and religious studies.
I'm going to declare soon when I turn in the paper, but I'm declaring elementary education as well.
I'm thinking of Mass Comm with like a track in PR also.
I'm actually not that sure yet, but Mass Comm is an option, and also maybe psychology.
Well, I have to turn in my application to AFL on the 1st of April, so hopefully if I get in, I'll be doing fashion design.
I'm going to double major in criminal justice and international relations.
How, if at all, has this class helped influence your decision in declaring or thinking about declaring those majors?
I mean, I feel like it wasn't specifically this class, like this FI class, but it was more like the people in this class, like being around these people. Like, I mean, obviously I didn't know anyone before I came. I don't think anyone really knew anyone. But now I feel like just a small class of all people who are kind of confused about what they want to do. We're all completely different. We're all not on the same track as like a lot of other classes are when they all have the same major. And so it's like nice to hear people talk. I mean, just in general, like answering questions, everyone sees things so differently, and it's nice to be like a bunch of us who are all just trying to figure out what we want to do.
Yeah, I feel like this class gave me a time to talk with other people who were also undeclared, and like she said, like a lot of like different points of view were coming into this class, and like you kind of feel like you're like less alone when you're like with a big group of people who like all don't really know what they're doing, and you know, I think that this class is really helpful for that, and being able to meet people who are like.
It's nice to see that everyone, or not everyone else, but a lot of other people are kind of like in the same boat, don't really know what's going on, so you feel like you can either come to them or talk to them and share what's going on in your life right then.
Our in-class discussions and our presentations have really helped, like with presentations in other classes, because we've learned skills of public speaking, and so when we have to use those skills in other classes, I found it helpful that I had like a foundation of how to present, I guess.
I mean, it's kind of like showed me how like before in like a lot of my other classes where it's like lectures, you just sit there, you just learn, and you don't really figure out anything else. But like with this class, I realized that like I love like talking to other people. I love learning what other people have to say. So like going into Mass Comm, I mean PR, like I'll be like in between other people, learning what one person has to say to the other person, just being in the whole like middle of all of that, like, and I guess in this class, like, it's kind of shown me, like, I really do like hearing what other people have to say. I really do like hearing other people's points of view and how they deal with things and stuff like that. Like, I've gained like skills on writing papers a lot. I used to just like BS most of the stuff that I wrote, but like now I actually like have learned how to like gather the correct information and put together an actual paper.
Something that I'm taking away from FI, in all honesty, is the ability to write and do work under pressure. Because sometimes, like with FI, you might check your Blackboard or something like right before class, and it's like, oh, I had to write a paper. So it's like, you know, our first draft of the paper, not final. But I guess that, like working under pressure, working efficiently under pressure.
What I've taken away from FI was probably being able to apply the criticism that we get from each other when we do peer reviews and things like that, and apply that to my papers and work to make it better.
My skills I've taken from FI is kind of like Arian's. I've been able to, I've always like struggled writing papers, but I've been able to like break it down more, like all the little mini papers that we have to write, and put it together like in a good, proper way.
I think everyone takes something away from everyone else at the end of the day.
Yeah, a lot of people have really different, like strong points of views, and everyone thinks their point of view is always right, but to hear other people's opinions on topics is really helpful. I'm like kind of nervous going into 200 because I've heard it's just very writing intensive, I guess, and I'm not a good writer, so I already like struggle enough in this class, and that's just what I've heard. Like it's more about writing more than anything, like discussions. If I'm wrong, I don't know.
I don't really know what to expect from 200, but I'm kind of nervous for it, I guess, because I don't really have any expectations. So whatever it ends up being, I feel like will catch me off guard. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I feel like it's just going to be like more intensive version of like the one.
And I'm also worried about getting a new professor because I've been with Dr. Nelson this whole year, so he knows my writing skills, like how I write, and going into another professor, I just like don't know, like they're gonna be like, oh, like your writing is not up to par, but like Dr. Nelson like already knows like how each of us are and how we write and stuff like that.
With Professor Nelson, I think that it was a better experience, well I know personally, a better experience for me for my first like college level writing class, because I've heard about like stories from my other friends that are also in FI, and I just feel like I wouldn't have wanted a different professor.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. Like, I feel like our class has more discussions and he's like more understanding that we're like freshmen coming into a new like level class, I guess. But my other friends who have FI, they have a lot more work than we do, and it's more like busy work. It's just not like
it's not substance.
Yeah, it's not really anything that you need, and I feel like I like the discussions that he puts together. Like he tries to do something different every class, which I enjoy.
Yeah, it's like he tries to help us grow as people and not just writers for a grade. Like he tries to help us open our eyes to like
think
what the world, and think how like the world expects us to think, but better, and not just like it's not just like a writing class for a grade or a credit because you need to fill that curriculum. Like I feel like he actually cares about how we perform once we leave his class and once we leave the university.
Yeah.
So